Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And yes, this is a book vlog. And it is currently 10 till 5 and I'm leaving Ritchie Woods State Park, where I just went for a walk in the woods for my Peter Does Stuff channel because we had an ice storm earlier. So I wanted to show all of the trees, or you can see, they're so pretty. I don't know if you can see them there, but there's like ice on all the trees. It's so pretty. But anyway, I have to tell you what is so funny / interesting is that I need some chapstick first of all, or lip balm. But I get so scared, you guys, walking in the woods anymore, which I was just saying is crazy because when I was a kid, like I never got scared walking in the woods because our house was in the woods and I was always playing in the woods. The woods was right behind our house. And so, you know, all the neighborhoods, we would play out there and get crawdads and build forts, and my dad built a tree house for me, you know, in the woods, and I was always out there. I mean, even in the dark, we were out in the woods with flashlights and stuff and play flashlight tag, and I don't remember ever being like truly scared. And it's something that over time has kind of developed into me being more scared. And I really think, like, just because today when I pulled up there was one other car and they were leaving, so I was the only one in there until I was walking out. There was like another car that came and they were like doing like a photo shoot, these girls or something like that. They were taking pictures. A photo shoot. Well, you know, like when you're with your friends and you go get a camera or you get your camera out and you just go take pictures, you know, in the woods or out somewhere. It's fun. We used to do that too, you know. But anyway, I was out there and by myself in this woods, and it's funny how my mind just reels, you know, with serial killers and, you know, just all this kind of scariness, right? I think it's truly related to like everything that I read and all the documentaries that I watch, you know, and the True Crime Book Club. And the last book that we read, Hell in the Heartland, like really had a lasting impression on me. And I think part of it was that in the documentary, there was a part at the very end where the investigator that worked with Jax Miller, she said, you know, while we were investigating this case that of Ashley Freeman and Lori Bible missing, that there were actually like 10 to 20 other unsolved murders like in that 3-county area that were just unsolved. And I'm like, that is so scary and so crazy, that in that area there's just like, you know, and I'm sure it's like that many places. And then it reminded me of the book American Predator about Israel Keyes that we read for the True Crime Book Club, where they said in there, and I've talked about this on here before, and I talked about it on my vlog quite a bit, but that there are, at any given time in the world, I think it's like 100 or 1,000, I think it's 100 active serial killers at any time in the world. That's the percentage that I think the FBI has put on it. And that, like, in your lifetime, you pass a serial killer like twice, like on the road, or you know what I mean? Like you just come in contact with one like twice in your lifetime. Is that not so scary? So anyway, but I think all the books that I'm reading and the true crime and everything is really starting to affect my mind a little bit, because I'm starting to believe that everybody is a serial killer. Speaking of which, one of the words I hate when it comes to like the bookish community is, the only reason I hate it is because it happens to me, is book slumps. Okay, I hate the word book slump because when it happens to me, I'm like, I'm in a book slump and I can't get out, you know? And or a reading slump, you know, I guess the term is reading slump, when you like, and really it pertains to not being able to like read, or you're not interested. But for me, when it typically happens is, it's not between books for me. I mean, sometimes it is. Sometimes I'll be between books and I'm like, I don't really want to start anything, or I don't really want to start. But typically it's when I'm in a book and I really have no interest in the book whatsoever. But I have such a hard time DNFing a book, like not finishing a book, you know? do not finish a book. I have such a hard time not finishing a book that almost all the books I start, especially if I get like a certain, you know, like if I'm listening to it on Audible like an hour into it, or if I'm reading it and I'm like 50 pages into it, I really can't just stop it. And if I do, I have to like physically get rid of the book because I can't have it around or it'll drive me crazy. Like I have to have it out of sight. So I downloaded, I was really going well with the reading. I've actually read 30 books this year as of today, which I think is pretty good compared to my past years. Last year I read 100, but like the last 2 years before that, it was like 40 and 60 or 30, some 33 one year. So it's pretty good for me. But I wanted to download like something that I really, to listen to on Audible that I really like couldn't stop listening to, that I loved. And so I was talking to my best friend Tanya Jean, and she said, oh, I guess I just read this great book. And I said, well, what was it? And she was like, Verite or Verity. I go, oh, Verity by Colleen Hoover. And I said, I just downloaded that because it was like Audible had this $5 sale. So it was one of the books I had downloaded because everybody had said you should try a Colleen Hoover book, yada, yada, yada. So I downloaded this book and I started listening to it, and you guys, I like literally could not get into this book. Literally. No, it was like so bad, you guys. Like the characters were uninteresting to me, and the main character, I just didn't think she was very bright because she would see stuff like moving. Like this is the kind of stuff that drives me crazy. It reminded me partly of like the 50 Shades of Grey books. Like I don't like when the main character is like silly, like she sees stuff or he sees stuff and it's like they just act like they don't really see it. Like there was a part in the book where like the curtains are moving and she's like, am I dreaming it? I'm like, you saw the curtains moving it, you're not dreaming, you know? And it had happened more than once, so it was driving me crazy. Plus, the narration is horrible. It's one of the worst narrations ever. And I don't think it is the narrator. I don't think it was the actor's fault, honestly. I think it's because of how the book goes back and forth. I think there was only one narrator at the end. And so she'd had to do two different voices. She had to do the voice of the main character, which that was fine. It was when she would go in and she would read the letters or the manuscript from the author in the book with the other character. And when she read it, I don't know, like, but anyway, let me just tell you, okay? I pushed myself to finish this book. I was like, I cannot get through this book. This book is uninteresting to me. I don't like this book. I don't think it's good, whatever. But I wanted to find out what happened. Have you ever read a book where you're like, I have to finish this book because I have to know what happens? So, and you guys, I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. Because I was like, why did Tanya keep on going on about this book? She kept on going on. She's like, this book is so good. It was so, well, first of all, it's very, the language is very seductive. And I'm saying that mildly. And very mature. And I called Tanya and I said, Tanya Jean, what kind of filth are you reading? I said, you need to go to church. She started laughing so hard. I said, oh my God. She goes, am I surprising you by what I like to read? And I go, well, kind of. I go, I'm just kind of surprised. Like, this wasn't what I expected, you know? So anyway, but let me just tell you, last night I listened to the last 2 hours of it. And, you know, of course I listen to books fast. I mean, you could listen to this book fast, but I listened to the book at like 2 times 5 speed easily. And, I was so worn out by the end of this book, you guys. The end of this book, well, first of all, it's like, it throws you, I kind of wish I had given this book more of a chance from the beginning, but I think, honestly, and I know there's people out there that love Colleen Hoover, and there's a lot of people that were like, you need to try a different book. If you're a Colleen Hoover lover, tell me which book I need to try of hers, because I think maybe because a lot of people said that they love Colleen Hoover, but this is like their least favorite book of hers. So, I will tell you this, fantastic story developer, because the end of it, I was worn out. And by worn out, what I mean is, I literally was like, I don't bite my nails, and I was almost biting my nails in this book. I mean, it was so unbelievable, the end of this book. You could not see it coming a mile away. I really did not expect the ending of this book at all. And I was literally like, listening to this book. I was like, oh my God. It was stressing me out completely. And, but like, the build up to that part, I mean, all of it was there. Like, okay, so you know, like I was criticizing mysteries that, like, in the last 2 or 3 chapters, like, give you characters and, like, you can figure the whole thing out. You could have figured this whole mystery out, like, pretty much from the beginning of the book, if you listen and you follow along. Like, it's all right there. Like, everything you needed was right there in the book. Like, you could have figured the whole thing out reading it. But it's kind of fun to discover it with the main character, who I still have to say is not a likable main character. It's not that she's not likable, she's just not interesting. I don't feel like there's any character development whatsoever. So I don't know if Colleen Hoover is not somebody that's like a big character development person. But for me, and I've said this a million times, like, well, maybe not a million, but maybe 100, 1,000, 1,000 at this point, maybe fair. I am more character driven than plot driven in books. So give me some well-developed characters that you can really get interested in. And I don't care if they're like, it's not so much to me if they're like the best people in the world. Like Willow Dean from Dumplin' by Julie Murphy was not the greatest person in the world. I mean, she was like hard to get along with. But that's kind of what I liked about her, was that Julie Murphy wrote such an honest character. These characters were flat. They just were flat. They weren't super interesting to me. You didn't really know a lot about them. Like, even like the main, I don't really feel like I have a physical description in my head of what the characters looked like. So that for me was kind of like, eh. I ended up giving the book 4 stars, and I'll tell you why. That car is so covered in ice, oh my god. But I ended up giving the book 4 stars because the book was so compelling at the end that I was like, anybody that can write an ending like this, anybody that can write a climax to a book like this, and literally, I'm telling you, like, in the last chapter, well, it's not the last chapter, it's the second to the last chapter. In the second to the last chapter, I'm literally listening to it, and I'm like, I've said the word literally like 50,000 times, haven't I? No exaggeration, 50,000. But I literally, at the end of the book, was like this. Like, seriously? Like, seriously, did this just happen? So, I mean, and it's so well crafted and well developed at the end of the book. Like, I knew that something like what happened was going to happen, but I didn't know that what happened was going to happen. Does that make sense? Like, I knew that there was, like, going to be some twist to this story, but I couldn't guess what it was. And I couldn't have guessed that. I would keep on wanting to try this restaurant over here. I keep on telling Alex we need to go over here. It's called Hello Bay Latin food. And they have all kinds of, they have, like, cachapas and arepas and things like that. I think we need to go in there and try it out. But anyway, and this restaurant over here, oh, did it close down? Redux or Redo? I'd always wanted to go there. Yeah, so I gave the book 4 stars because just the whole development of the mystery was so fantastically done that I was like, okay, she deserves 4 stars for this, because I couldn't write a mystery like that, which, by the way, yes, I am. Alex and I were talking about it last night, and he was like, when are you going to start your cozy mystery? And, it's kind of a mix between a mystery and a cozy mystery. It's like, there's some things about it that aren't super cozy. It's kind of more of a dark mystery than a cozy mystery has, but there are a lot of cozy stuff in it, if that makes sense. But I'm wanting to write the book so that it could possibly be a series, you know, if possible. And Alex is like, are you serious that you're gonna write this? I'm like, yeah, I am. I need to sit down and, like, really start, like, every day, like, dedicating, like, an hour to, like, outlining it and whatever. I have, like, all the notes that I need on it in my phone, and I just need to put them, I like to work with pen and paper, and not a computer. I like to type up the manuscript on a computer, but I like to put pen to paper when I'm, like, outlining and writing notes and stuff like that, and I like to use a legal pad of paper with, like, I have my favorite pens. Do you guys do that? So anyway, that's part of my writing process. People always ask me about my writing process. My writing process for the last year has been not much, we'll say that. I'm still working on this, I don't know if it's so much a memoir. That sounds like an autobiography of a famous person at the end of their life. It's more of like a collection of, like, stories and essays from my life when I was growing up. And I've still been working on that slowly, but I'm really excited about this idea. So if you're interested in me writing this cozy mystery, let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, I'm excited about it. I've been looking at a lot of these cozy mystery people, and a lot of them self-publish, and I'm thinking, you know what, I might just self-publish. Although I do have an agent that I've been, you know, off and on working with, throwing ideas to, that she really wants to work with me. But I haven't really been that consistent. But this wouldn't be like something, I think that, like, she's more interested in some of my other ideas. I don't know that this would be necessarily something that she would be super interested in, but I could be wrong. I haven't mentioned it to her. So anyway, but I'm excited about it, you know. I need to start writing it. I saw that Sean David Hutchinson tweeted out, I may have said this on here not too long ago, I love Sean David Hutchinson's writing, and he said something to the effect of, like, it was like, there was a tweet somebody put out and said, something that people don't actually think about when it comes to writing, and he retweeted it and said that books actually have to be written. You know, I think there's this conception for those of us that love books, like, when is so-and-so putting out their next book, right? Without, like, actually thinking that that's a process that has to happen, you know what I mean? That, like, books actually have to be sat down and written, like, word by word. It's not like they just magically appear, you know? Like that. It would be nice if they did. It's like, book, there you are. Book, there you are. I know that some writers put out enough books that it seems that way, but so I finished it last night. You know, if you're somebody that's not really, I understand why Tanya liked it now. I mean, she was like, oh my God, that book was so good. I understand it now. It's like when you finish a book in its completion, it's like, and that's why I say a lot about books as I'm reading them, but I try to save my final review till the end. And I even said last night I'll probably end up liking this book or something at the end. But I think I said something like that in my blog, but because that happens a lot. Now, I wouldn't recommend this book highly to people. I mean, if somebody said, what's a great mystery thriller, this would not be. I mean, I would say, well, if you want to, you know, be surprised till the very end, maybe. If you don't care about character development and you don't care about, like, interesting, I don't know. There were some things to me that, like, just as an example, okay, so she is a sleepwalker, like she walks in her sleep, the main character, and at one point in the book, she walks in her sleep, and it causes this very awkward situation, and so the guy that is, like, the husband of this other woman that, like, she's living in their house, she's, like, telling him about it, and he's like, oh, well, why didn't you tell me about that before? And she's like, I just, you know, I didn't know, I was embarrassed and whatever. And he's like, she has a lock on the inside of her door, but apparently in her subconscious she can undo these locks. And I don't know enough about sleepwalking, and that's probably true, but he's like, do you want me to put a lock on the outside of the door, and then every night before you go to bed I'll just lock you in your room? And she's like, I don't know, like, she says, like, in her head, she's like, God, that makes me kind of feel uncomfortable, but I trust him. And she says to him, sure, that I would like that. And I thought, hell no. You're living in this house that is already scaring you to death, okay? That you don't know what's going on, and you feel like something's going on that you're not aware of, and you're gonna let somebody put a lock on your door and lock you into the room at night? No way. No. And then to find out that the panel and the window panels are 4-paneled, okay? That she would have had to have, like, broken through with, like, no, there's no way I'd let anybody lock me into a room. You're stupid. It was silliness like that. I was like, this is just silliness. This doesn't even make any sense whatsoever, you know? So I finished that last night, and then I am reading, I started Sanatorium. I can't remember who it's by, Sarah Pearse, I think, and it is my pick for the March book for Peter's Book Club. Like, right out of the gate, I'm already liking it. It's very well written, very interesting. I like a well-written book, you know. I mean, I like books that I can just fly through, but if the book is, like, horribly written, or it's not, like, descriptive or interesting to me at all, like, I'm just, like, not down with it. This book is, like, beautifully written, and it was also a pick for the Reese Witherspoon Book of the Month, so I knew it would probably be pretty good. And those are the books that I've been reading, so... Anyway, let me know what you think about all of that in the comment section below. Have you read Verity? If you have, let me know what you thought. And also, I have like a stone on the bottom of my foot. And then also let me know a good Colleen Hoover book. I have to tell you, I'm not like in the mood to jump right back into a Colleen Hoover book, but I do want to know which one I should, you know, buy in the future to try. So please let me know that in the comment section below, and let me know what you guys are reading. Are you reading Sanatorium this month with me? Are you reading People Who Eat Darkness, which is our true crime book for this month? Let me know in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.